name is Galina, and this is my next video about our trip to Canada. In this video, we will visit Ottawa, Quebec City. We'll go on the tour of the largest hotel in Quebec City that was built like European castle. And at the end, we'll go to the waterfalls that are higher than Niagara Falls. After leaving Toronto, we had our breakfast in some lovely town on the way to Ottawa. The plan was to see the center of Ottawa and go all the way to Quebec. The center of Ottawa, the Parliament Hill, impressed me with the castle-like governmental buildings. The Parliament Hill is located on the southern bank of Ottawa River. This is the center block. It's the main building of the Canadian Parliamentary Complex. The famous 5 monument in front of the Senate building. These 5 women fought for women's political rights in Canada. Spider next to the National Gallery of Canada. I think I've already seen this spider, or maybe a different spider. When you see a lot of the same looking sculptures in different cities, you start to wonder, are they actually the same, or they are a little bit different but created by the same author, or maybe they are completely different and created by different authors. So this spider is created by Louise Bourgeois. She said it's an ode to her mother. Her family was in a tapestry business, and her mom was in charge, like a spider. We didn't go to the National Gallery. Instead, I went to the small church across the street. Even though Ottawa is located in the English-speaking province of Canada, Ontario, this church reminded me of the best churches in France. Sadly, my video camera didn't record the beauty of the church the way I saw it. The photos are a little better. It's Dao Bakery, D-A-O, Dao, European Asian-inspired bakery. If you're in Canada, search for it. These are very tasty crepes. It's like a pie, but it's made from crepes. The first time we ate them was in Australia, and I already found a place in New York that is supposed to have them. I didn't go there yet, but I'll definitely check it out. It is quite an expensive cafeteria, but it's like going to a museum. You're paying for the pleasure of seeing all this. And this is what I ordered. We didn't spend much time in Ottawa because our plan was to get to Quebec the same day. Finally, we are in Quebec. It was too windy to talk, but I wanted to say that it looked like it's normal weather for people because they were dressed not like us. After all, it was spring. It felt like they had snow just yesterday, but today there was finally spring because some women were wearing dresses without jackets and even sandals. Our plan was to visit Quebec in May because, in my mind, it was supposed to be warm. I still think that it was a good experience. If we went in this summer, we would just find a nice European city. But being there in May and jumping from 30 degrees Celsius to winter temperature with heavy wind gave us an understanding of what it feels like to live in Quebec, even though we didn't come in the winter. the same day in the evening. The next day we downloaded some audio guide, and this was our starting point. This location is called the Horse. The Canadian horse, also known as Little Iron Horse, is a breed of horse that originated in Quebec. The King of France, Louis XIV, sent some of the best horses from the royal stables to Quebec. Over the next century, in harsh winter and tough working conditions on the land, the horse population of New France developed and gradually became a breed of its own, the Canadian horse. We parked and went a little up to the royal place. It is named after the French King Louis XIV. He raised the population of the territory, which was less than 1,000 people in the middle of the 17th century. The 95% of the people were men. He decided to send the daughters of the king, single French girls, ages 13-30, who were either orphans or from very poor families. They were named the daughters of the king because the king provided them with the dowries necessary for them to get married in New France. During a 10-year period, about 800 girls came to Canada and contributed to the population of the colony. The founder of the city, Samuel de Champlain, chose this location because of the St. Lawrence River. This is the first prison of Quebec. It was used as a prison until the second part of the 19th century, when the new prison outside of the city was built. This prison was converted into the first English language educational institution. These are the walls of the fortifications in Quebec City. Quebec is the only city north of Mexico in North America that has fortification walls. The walls were originally built by the French to protect the city from North American tribes and from the British. The construction was completed by the British to protect the city from the Americans. This is the Parliament building. The fountain in front of the building was a gift from Quebec businessmen for the 400th anniversary of this city. It was shipped all the way from Bordeaux. This is the main park of Quebec. In the summer, this park hosts one of the largest outdoor music festivals in North America. Only during the first 2 weeks of July, the park hosts more than 300 concerts. Such artists as Rolling Stone, Metallica, Elton John, Paul McCartney, Pink have performed here. There were a lot of churches in Quebec City. Quebec was a very Catholic place and almost everybody went to Sunday Mass. It changed now. A lot of churches became empty. The city of Quebec decided that people can transform the buildings and give them new life if the facade of the building remains unchanged. Some of the churches became apartment buildings, others libraries or museums. There is even a circus school in the church. The Lawrence River. It is the third largest river in North America. It freezes in the winter, but now there are icebreakers that keep the river open. The St. Lawrence is one of the rivers that is the most difficult to navigate. Every vessel on this river has a pilot. The river has 3 sections, and the pilot has to have 10 years of training to be able to specialize on one section of the river only. Montmorency Falls. Montmorency Falls are 1.5 times higher than Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls are 51 meters high, while the Montmorency Falls are 84 meters high. At the end of the 19th century, a Polish immigrant by the last name Moore opened the first electric power station in Quebec. The electricity was produced at the falls and carried about 15 kilometers to light the boardwalk by the Château Frontenac. Nowadays, the falls are used for leisure activities. There is a zip line and a cable car. In the warm part of the year, you can fish there. In the winter, the mist coming from the falls and river freezes, creating a small mountain of snow. People climb one side of the hill, equipped with harnesses and spikes, and slide down the other side. Then we went on the tour of the Château Frontenac. It was built at the end of 19th century by a railroad company, Canadian Pacific. These are tour guides.
In the city, we expect you to have 10 children. In the country, the average is 15. The record in Quebec with the same man and the same lady, 32. Oh, don't panic, there's 4 set of twins.
It was built at the end of 19th century by a railroad company, Canadian Pacific. This railroad company was commissioned to build a road from the British Columbia, which is at the west coast, to Quebec City. Even at the end of 19th century, European tourists sailed all the way to Quebec City. They were coming to Quebec and then continued traveling by trains to the west coast. The railroad company decided to build luxurious hotels along the way. These hotels were built in the style of European castles. This hotel has 600 rooms and is the largest in the city.
We had 170 rooms, which was big at the time.
This is it for today. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.